What's going on, guys? I'm going to talk about why a vegan diet is going to solve the nutrition science problem, being we're obviously not doing things right. So to get started, the USDA dietary guidelines were established based off of profit. Whole grains, fruits and vegetables, soy, processed oils, plant oils are the best way to make money because you grow a product, you use some of that product to make something to sell at a very high profit margin, and you use the rest of that product to feed livestock. That was the model that the USDA dietary guidelines were based off of. Before the USDA dietary guidelines, people ate a much higher vitamin diet in the form of animal foods. People ate like 50 to 60% animal foods until the USDA dietary guidelines came along, and then they just ate more plants. They never really reduced their meat consumption. They just ate more sugar and more starch. What actually happens when modern diets are introduced to indigenous cultures is drastically different. They die of tuberculosis and various other diseases, but tuberculosis is the common one. Weston Price did a lot of research on this in his book Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. I think the Inuits and the Native Alaskans were getting tuberculosis. There are a bunch of other groups. I think the Swedes were getting tuberculosis. It was a very common disease for people that moved from rural agricultural life into cities and changed went off their natural diet. I'll try to find another study, but there was a group of monkeys that started eating garbage out of a resort's kitchen, and it was mostly cake. These monkeys developed this super tuberculosis virus that killed them in weeks. So the point of me talking about that is to establish that modern diets would cause us to die in nature through diseases. Now, if we've seen modern diets cause these problems in the past, and we know that modern medicine is preventing it, at what point are we going to say, this has to stop? Because, I'll give a few examples. A woman who miscarries 6 times, someone whose child is born with leukemia and needs to get chemotherapy at 5 years old, Down syndrome. I could name thousands of diseases and modern problems. Eyesight, crooked teeth, things that I personally believe are related to lack of nutrition over the course of several generations. The biggest one being the obesity epidemic and heart disease. But at what point are we going to say we're not doing things right? At what point are we going to say whole grains and plant foods are not the solution? I think it's going to be, if it's already gotten to this point, can it get any worse? Arguably not. So at what point are we, what kind of evidence do we need to say that we need to go back to consuming more animal foods or just less plant foods? I think it's going to be the sterility caused by a vegan diet. So I would bet the world on this, that a vegan diet over X amount of generations would cause you to become sterile. And you can no longer reproduce. Just not enough vitamins in their bioavailable amounts to sustain human life, even minimally. Whether that's 2 generations or whether that's 6 generations, I don't know. But I would bet between 2 and 6 generations of a vegan diet, humans would go extinct. Without supplementation or modern shipping methods or modern foods, I don't think a vegan diet would be sustainable across 1 generation. I think someone would die of some disease or malnutrition before living their full lifespan on a natural vegan diet of no plant-based oil, no modern foods. If you can't take algae supplements, you can't supplement B12. If modern medicine is preventing people from dying from diseases like tuberculosis on modern diets, modern supplements are preventing vegans from dying from malnourishment. There's a parallel there. So I think when we see the deteriorating health of vegan families, a step is going to be made in the right direction to establish that there is something in animal foods that we need that's not B12 or iron. And once people realize the nutrient density, specifically fat soluble vitamins of animal foods, and how much of a role they actually play in human health, whether that's going to happen, hey, I don't know. This is just a scenario I've been thinking about and playing out in my head about how it would happen. I don't know, who knows? It could just be maybe the keto diet and the paleo diet just surge up in popularity so much that that's what happens. But I just wanted to bring up. Who am I kidding? You guys know I like shitting on vegans. So that's it for this video. Listen. That being said, plant foods, vegetables, grains, all of those things have a place in the human diet. It's just they're supposed to be around 30 to 40% of the human diet at most, and they are totally not necessary. So, as always, thank you guys. I'm going to try to do a bunch more content. More like this, talking certain points that are short, concise, and give you some like a base to do your own research off of.